So real quick, I just want to make a video on what happened to me a couple months ago. My ear, where I had a problem with it, and I didn't know what to do. I was freaking out because I have anxiety really bad, and whenever I have a problem with me, I always try to think of the better side, but I always go to the worst side of things. And this video is going to tell you what I basically been through during that time, because I didn't want to say anything during the time as much as I did, because I didn't know what was wrong with me. But it's as simple as it was just my ear was just clogged of earwax, and it wasn't that big of a deal. But everything to me, I always think of the worst of the worst if there's another thing that could happen. So anyway, here's what happened. So about a couple months ago, I can't remember when, but excuse me. Dang, I'm getting these burps a lot more recently. Anyway, happened a couple months ago. I don't remember when, but basically it was this thing where I had my ear clogged, and I thought it was I ruptured an eardrum, and it was really bad. And I thought I ruptured my eardrum for like the whole 2 weeks that I waited with my ear clogged like that. I thought I ruptured my eardrum. Well, basically, I'm doing this video because Too Mad has podcast videos, and I was watching one of them, and he was talking about tinnitus. And I had some sort of version of tinnitus that I know of because it's a ringing in your ear. And if you don't know what it is, you can look it up and learn more about it that way. But I didn't have it super bad like Too Mad was saying, because of course, it was just an ear clog. So I still had it, but it wasn't as bad as like I ruptured an eardrum and that was it. No, it was, my ear was just full of earwax, and since I couldn't hear anything out of it because it clogged and I couldn't hear, it just did that with earwax and shit. And basically that's all I heard, and it's this ringing noise that goes on forever. It's like you know how sometimes some people cannot stand sitting in a quiet room? I'm one of those people. That's why I always have the fan on in the background. And I just can't fucking handle quietness anyway, because I have voices in my head that like to talk when it gets quiet. And yeah. But anyway, during that time of when this event took place, I was not like too much in my head when it first started. I was like, oh no, I just clogged my ear. Whatever. Just, And during that time when it got clogged, I was very worried that I ruptured an eardrum, or poked a hole through my eardrum, which is the same thing as rupturing it. Basically, a little bit different, but I thought about it like that, and it made me very, very upset, because my anxiety took over, and I was like, nah, I ruptured an eardrum. I just broke through my eardrum. It's the worst of the worst. And I kept having this ringing in my ear, and it wasn't super bad. Like, you could handle it. You could block it out if you had something else playing in my other ear, or like something else going on to get me off of the thought of the eardrum. But with the eardrum ringing and everything, or just I have ringing in my left ear, it was very hard to like tell somebody how I felt, because it's hard to tell somebody I have ringing in my ear when they've probably never even knew that you could have ringing in your ear, or knew what that felt like. So it's hard to explain to somebody, hey, it's like a ringing in your ear and it doesn't stop. And I hate for people who that's what happens to them all the time, because it's a different version of tinnitus, and Too Mad talked on it a little bit, and it's like I'm just going to call it forever tinnitus, where it's there forever, basically, and it sucks, and it's there forever, and that's all you hear is the ringing. But you know how sometimes when it's super quiet you hear the ringing? Imagine that, but 10 times louder, and it's all the time. That's what it is. I've said that multiple times before, but I never really explained how it felt. It felt horrible because I could never do things with my left side of my head anymore. So it was always just do this and do that and do this and do that. And the only reason why I even went to the emergency room, or the what is it called? It's not really the emergency room. It's like the they're like there for like quick and easy doing or whatever, you know. And yeah. Anyway, they I cleaned out my ear and everything was fine, but what happened during that event, and the whole reason why I even went there to get it fixed, was because one day I woke up, I was really, really fucking dizzy. Like my head was throbbing, and I felt like I had a headache. I woke up and I couldn't walk straight, and I kept falling down and everything. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I couldn't even walk to my door without having to hold on to something to keep my balance because I was getting dizzy. And during the time when I was having this issue, I looked it up and said that some things that could be caused with not a ruptured eardrum, but ruptured eardrum, but also just your ear getting clogged, is you could also get dizziness. And that was something I had that day, and I told them that I need to get it fixed. I cannot. Like, I got up, tried to go to the bathroom, couldn't. I fell over, and it was actually horrible. It was fucking horrible. I hated every second of it. And then we went to this like fast med place next to my house, and they said that we had to wait for 2 hours just to get in when there was only one guy there. And, you know, that's kind of stupid. You're called fast med. You're not called wait med. So that kind of made me and everybody else mad, because you're called fast med, not wait med. Anyway, it was just one guy there. It doesn't matter though, because we went to another place down the street, and they took me in immediately. It wasn't even that long of a wait. It was like a 5, 10, maybe even 15 minute at most wait. I got in, got it cleaned out. It was fine. The only thing is I found a bunch of new YouTubers that I never watched during that time, and they made me happy, and they made me get my mind off it because they were new and different videos. And I couldn't fully hear them with both ears, and it made me kind of upset as well, because I like to listen to music also on my own time, and I just couldn't listen to music. Well, I could, but it was one ear, and I like listening with both ears on, and you can't do that with an ear that is ruptured or that's filled with earwax, because even though you may think it's not super loud, because I like listening to shit really loud, because I am technically still deaf. I fucked up my ears, and that's why you never listen to shit super loud in earphones. But anyway, I put them on, because I like the over ear earphones. I don't like ones where you put them in your ears. Those are stupid. I hate them. They hurt. They make no sense, and little rubber things can get stuck in your ears, and they fucking hurt. I don't like it. Okay? I don't. But anyway, I could only wear one side of my headset, and because, like I said, you don't know how loud the other side is. Even though you can make a good guess, you really shouldn't listen to anything on that side of the ear. Or if your ears are like both enclosed, don't put on headphones, listen to shit super high up, because it could damage your ears. Because even though it may not sound that loud, it is really loud, and a lot of people will either tell you that's okay to do that because it won't affect your ear, but a lot of people, me including as well, will tell you it will, because it does. It still affects your ear because your ear is still hearing it normally, but you are not. If that makes sense. So your brain is getting the radio waves from the music still at the same volume as it was from when you could normally hear, right? Well, the thing about that is that it was not too long after that I realized I shouldn't have done that, and it affected me for probably the rest of my life. I don't know. I'm not saying this to scare people. I'm not saying this because, oh, it's fake. It really happened. I fucked up my ears because of listening to music too loud in headphones, because I'm one of those people who like really loud tempos and beats and stuff, and I like listening to them as well, and I couldn't do that with my ear, and it made me upset because I couldn't do anything. And one of the things to make me forget about certain things or make me calm down is music, and I couldn't listen to it. But anyway, after that, I cleaned it and everything was fine. Well, then after that, nothing really anything other than that really happened. That's probably the most eventful thing in my life that happened ever since I busted my upper lip in half, and I don't really remember this at all, but my parents do, because this was back when we lived in a trailer, and I'm not afraid to say this or embarrassed to say this, because a lot of people start from certain areas and you move up. I live in a house right now, and we're about to move to an even bigger place, and that's just how my life is. I'm not trying to flex, I'm just saying it's the truth, and I'm moving in with more family, and it's good, and I like it. But anyway, like I was saying, we lived in a trailer, and when people are like, go to your room, like you get grounded or whatever, or you get in trouble, your parents say go to your room. Well, they do, and they will shut and lock the door or something to tell you discipline, that's discipline. Well, one time, I used to always say, I can't remember the exact words, but I think I said, please, I love you, please, under the door, like where the little slit is. And I would always say that because as a little kid, you don't really know what's going on half the time, so you just assume that saying, please, I love you, makes a difference, when it really doesn't. And, that's just how it is. But anyway, what happened was I was at the doorknob, like really close to it, and my mom opened the door, and it hit my lip, and it split it in half. And at first, my mom told me the story, and she was like, I opened the door. I'm telling from my mom's perspective now how she told it. She said, I opened the door, and you said, Mom, I'm bleeding. And she was like, no, you're not, and it can't be that much. And I walked out, and she looked and saw that my upper lip was busted in half. This was a long time ago, by the way. I don't know if I said that, but I want you to assume that this was I was like maybe 4 or 5. I don't remember how old I was. I just remember the story because my mom told me it. And we went to the hospital, I guess, or the emergency room or something, and they tried to fix my lip, and they stapled it back together. And that's why I don't ever judge people for how they look a lot of times, because you don't know what happened to them in their life. But anyway, my lip, my upper lip is kind of the reason why I don't talk perfectly, I guess you could say. It could also be just because my teeth are crooked and shit, and that's also why. I plan on getting them straightened as soon as I get the money to do it or whatever. I plan on getting my teeth straightened, because I don't like how they are right now. I might get Invisalign. I've heard great things about Invisalign, and maybe it'll work. I don't know. yeah, I was, I think 4 or 5 when that happened, and my mom kept telling me that I kept pulling out the stitches on my lip because I didn't want them in my face. Yeah, that was also another, I guess you say, traumatic event. The ear wasn't really traumatic. It just got to the point where I felt dizziness, and I'm not kidding when I say I felt dizziness. I really felt dizziness, and it just didn't feel right. Like, at that point, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna make too much of a panic about my ear until something happens, like I get dizzy or anything. And then I got dizzy, and that happened. But the main reason why I made this video was to tell you guys about tinnitus. Tinnitus is a serious thing, and you should always take stuff that you have, not everything for granted. You know how they say? I can't remember how they say it. I was about to say take everything you have for granted. But sometimes you can't, sometimes you can, and at the end of the day, a lot of people are walking around us, walking among us, with these problems, and it's a bad thing, and they have a hard time hearing and everything, and it sucks. I had it for like 2 weeks. Had that ear problem for like 2 weeks, and I felt super bad for people who are deaf and who had to listen to that noise for their whole life, because it sucks having to sit there and just listen to a ringing in your ear or your ears. And I'm glad that I'm fortunate enough to not have that issue, but for my whole life. But that's why I always have my fan on in the background as well, is because I hate quietness. And when it's quiet, a lot of times you'll get, I don't know if it is called tinnitus at that point, a little bit of tinnitus. I'm just going to say a little bit, because I'm not no doctor. I can't tell you. I'm not no ear expert. I don't know anything about this. I'm just telling you what I do know. So that whenever you're in a quiet room, sometimes you'll hear some ringing, but it's not going to stay there forever, because eventually it'll go away. But with me, it's either the ringing or the voices in my head, because I do have a split personality that can come out at any point in time, and I never really let it come out, because again, that is the worst side of me, and I don't want anybody to see that side of me ever. And if you do, I'm terribly sorry. But yeah. And you can take this video how you want. I'm not here, like I said, to change anything or change how people think about me. I'm here just to let you know that this is what happened to me in my 17 years on this earth, almost 18. It's crazy to think about that. I'm almost 18, because I've been through a lot. Well, I say I've been through a lot, but everyone's been through a lot, really. Probably a lot more than me, because there's a lot of people who sit and play video games and think that that's life, and I thought that for a while, and then I'm glad I'm one of those people who found out very young that video games is not everything. I was always told my life that there's a lot more to life than video games, and I was always like, no, there isn't. What? Go outside? Like, that's stupid. And you can make fun of me for that, but there's a lot of people out there who actually do think like that. They're like, I don't want to go outside. It's stupid. I don't want to go somewhere. Just play video games. I prefer to go somewhere over staying home playing video games. Even if I am, because my anxiety, I don't like doing a whole bunch of new things, like going on a plane. I went on a plane. I can talk about that if you want me to. I went on a plane last year on December 4th. It's almost been a whole year since I've been on that plane. And we went to Florida to look at houses. And it was my first time ever on a plane, and my anxiety ramped it up. And I got a ticket, And my anxiety went up and up and up and up until the day came, and then it went so high to the roof that I was literally shaking in the car going to the airport, to go to the plane. And we got on the plane. My anxiety was still super high, and we took off, and my anxiety slowly but surely lowered. And then we got to Florida, and it went to a halt at the very bottom, and that was good. But I still think it's crazy that there's a lot of people who think that, oh, there is a life of video games. Like I said, I found out at a young age that not everything's video games. I'll tell you right now, if you think life is just about video games, eating, sleeping, going to the bathroom and then going to sleep and waking up and doing the same shit over again, you're wrong. And I hate to tell you you're wrong, but you're wrong. Technology takes over the world more than we want to say it does. If it wasn't for technology, we couldn't call people or text people or watch videos of people playing video games or just vlogging and stuff. Or, even playing video games or watching a movie. If it wasn't for technology, we couldn't do any of this. Or even drive. Technology's everywhere, and people take it for granted, but one day it might just all shut down. Who knows? People who are playing video games will be like, what the fuck? I just can't play video games? This is stupid. I had a friend that got, this is not on topic at all, but it's really funny. My friend got really mad at his system, which I'm going to tell you right now, do not do this ever. But if you do have a weapon such as a gun or something that can damage something, do not use it to damage something, especially something really expensive like a console or a car or anything. Just don't ever, unless you have to use it, which in this case he did not. So me and my friend were playing Xbox, right? And he got really mad at the game, and he was just getting madder and madder every match. I can't remember what it was. I don't know. Remember, it was Call of Duty, Fortnite. I don't remember. It was some game. And we kept loading into matches. And one of the matches, he said, "I'm done, dude. Next time I die, I'm getting my gun, and I'm putting a whole mag into my Xbox." And I thought he was kidding. So we played one match. He died. And he actually did it. He put a whole mag of like a 9mm gun. I can't remember which one. Don't know if it was a Glock or like a or whatever. I don't know what gun it was. But he picked up the gun and he went pow, pow, pow. Like, I didn't hear any of this on mic, of course, because once you put one bullet into something, everything else is just blank. You can't hear it. But all I heard was "fuck this shit," and then he was connecting, and so I assumed he actually did it, and he FaceTimed me on Snapchat and showed me. I'm no longer friends with this guy, by the way, not because of how he acted, but because something between us is we just haven't talked. And I'm not saying we're not friends, I'm just saying, like, haven't talked to him in a while, so I'm not really the biggest friend with him anymore. Ever since that event, we kind of stopped talking because the only way I really communicated was with Xbox or school, and I'm not in school anymore, and I don't play from on Xbox, so I don't really talk to him much. That being said, he FaceTimed me and showed me, and there was bullet holes in his Xbox, and in his table, and in his TV, and in his wall, all because of a video game, and that's crazy to think about. And the lessons learned between that story is don't use a weapon take out your anger like that. I've done it multiple times. I say multiple, it was really just 2 times, but when I was younger, I was lucky enough to have a 360, and I had it set up in my dining room with a monitor, and it was my screen that I played on. Well, I took a kitchen knife to that because one time I got really mad, and I got in trouble for it because it wasn't even my monitor. Well, Well, now people always ask me, why is your monitor so fucked up? You know, because on TikTok, that's what happened. Like, way back when I first made TikToks, you could tell the monitor was messed up. And I told the truth. I was like, as a little kid, I took a kitchen knife to it because I got pissed off at a video game. Because, fuck that. I'm surprised that monitor still even works. It still works. But it's just crazy to think about that. I did that, and looking back on it, I should have never done that. Because, like I said, people take shit for granted, and then they ruin it, and they're wondering why they don't get a second chance at something like that. And I'm glad I didn't completely fuck it up. I had a really, really, I guess you could say, hard time going through that event. But if you look back at my super duper old videos, which some of them I do take down because I don't think it's worth doing those videos, so I take them down. And my old, like, you know, your old subscriber when you remember my old videos where it was just my phone propped up on a dinner tray looking at my monitor. If you remember those days, you're an old subscriber, and if you don't remember, don't worry, you don't have to remember. Just be glad that you have the Dread Baron that you have now instead of the Dread Baron that you had back then. Yeah, that's all I have to really say in this video. I don't know if I'll upload it, but if I do upload it, then you'll know. And for those of you who skip through this video instead of listening, I hate you, but you should also subscribe, because if you are not here for this kind of videos, I'm sorry. But on a real note, this is going to be on Dread Talks, so I don't know why you're upset. Yeah. Because I haven't uploaded on that channel in basically a year. And I'm not saying I'm going to go back to uploading, I'm just saying this video is going to be on there. And every time I do make a talk video, I'm going to put it on there, because it's like my podcast channel, really, but yeah. That's really it, so see you guys later, and yeah.